you, Miss Curvy. Love you, babes. Good to see you.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Ask me how we got here, 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries as we'll fall now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. I drag you out your mind, and there are days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Today is August 7th, 2024, 5:09 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Good to see you all in chat. Thank you so much for joining me. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is valuable, and I really do appreciate it, spending it with me. Got a lot to speak about today. I'm back home and getting back to the grind. Miss Curvy, so good to see you. Thank you for being here. We haven't seen you in a while. I know you've been really busy. So thank you so much, and I want to thank you for the super sticker, my dear. Thank you so very much for your support there. Love you to pieces, Miss Kitty. Love you all. Um, Thank you so much, YouTuber. It's good to see you all. Please hit that thumbs up while you are coming in. Would really do appreciate that, as it is a free way to get the message out. It just didn't feel like you on the couch. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was a little different, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes, right? So, going back with everything that we've been speaking about, we have been going over the witness box with Chris McDonough, of course, Josh from the lab, and Dr. Gary. And it's been very, very interesting. I have been working, I worked um, pretty much my entire drive home yesterday, and I've been working all day uh, covering different things. Justin, I can't see you. Why you can't see me? Why can't you see me? Why can't you? I don't know. Don't forget. Yes, yes, Dr. Gary Ricardo, his audiobook, also book, The New Evil, by Dr. Gary Ricardo and Michael Stone on Amazon. Link is provided. Marlena just dropped it there. Oh, she lost her glasses. Okay, then that would be why. I'm probably blurry. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started. I've got a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple days. Some uh, new study sessions that we're going to be covering. But first, before we get started with the witness box from the lab, and you can also find the witness box on any uh, podcast, you know, provider at all. Mona, shout out to me for being on time. Congratulations, being on time. But first, what I wanted to kind of speak with you guys on a case that's uh, not necessarily a case yet, but there is someone missing that I do want to briefly speak about, and I'm following this case right. Well, again, it's not. It's a case. It's a missing persons. Tiffany McClure from Tarell, California. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. She was last seen on July 22nd, 2024. She's 47 years old, stands 5'8". She was last seen at 8:30 p.m. on Monday in Telar, California. She was driving her 2023 BMW 540i with a silver Yale license plate frame, which is also which it has been located now. I just want to say that anyone with information about Tiffany McClure can contact the police department at 559-684-4290. Here is another photo of Tiffany. Now, what the police are saying now, Tulare. Okay, thank you, Tulare. 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 Okay. Tulare. I'll figure it out. Um anyway, let's I want to what people are saying right now is that this is a or what the police rather are saying right now is this is a voluntary missing persons case. What does that mean? That means they have found no evidence other than that they have found her car, and that's it. That's all that they have to Larry. Okay. That's how you pronounce it. 17 days ago, Rhonda. Yes, 17 days ago. Now, this is a little bit of an older interview, but it's still all the things that we need to know. She has a very well established job that she has worked. Oh, your son found him? Good, Tar. I'm glad they found your glasses. Um, what the sorry, I'm trying to fix something. What the police are saying that is this is voluntary. Okay. She's worked at her job for the past I think 20 some years, right? She's got a nice home. She's got a lot going on for her. And to this day, 17 days ago now, she hasn't been found. She was seen um kind of like out, you know, on the town in the evening time, and her car was spotted. Nothing uh was there's nothing to suspect foul play at this time, but the family says this would not happen. She would never ever do this, and this is very much unlike her, but the police just have nothing at this time. Her phone, her purse was still in the car. Still in the car. So let's get it started and let's review this.
Lightly, they are very, very concerned. I want to bring in Kristen Collins. She is Tiffany's cousin. Thank you for being with us tonight, Tiffany. I'm sorry for everything that your family's going through. What led up to this? I mean, was there anything strange going on in Tiffany's life? Was she upset about anything? Kind of set it up for us.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me tonight, Brian. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
You know, not really anything that most people, are not going through. She is separated, but this has been going on for some time. She's an empty nester now, but her daughter has been in college for 2 years. So, probably time to adjust, but nothing that just says, hey, she's going to get up and leave.
Was there anything strange with the car, Kristen? Was it just like parked in a parking lot? Have the police been able to figure anything out on that front?
The car was actually found, it was parked in Morro Bay at an intersection that is a residential area. You can actually see houses, and then it dead ends to the beach, but it was legally parked. That was their words, legally parked. Her purse was in the car, which I find unusual as a woman. You don't go anywhere without your purse. But they said that nothing suggested foul play.
Now, it's true, something could be going on with her with, her mental status right now. There was nothing out of the ordinary that people around her thought something was wrong, but people go missing willingly all the time. However, her car was parked in in a parking lot. She was seen out, like, on the town, if you will. But her purse and her phone was left in the car. Right. I mean, there's nothing that we're aware of, Bear, that she had anything to go missing from. Um, I just don't see. I mean, she's worked in the same job for 20 some years. Uh, I understand if a person wants to go missing, they may not take their phone, but you would still think that they would. Where's her car keys? I have no idea. Don't know about that.
That was the words that were used. Nothing to suggest foul play.
What about her phone? Were they able to find her phone?
I have not been able to confirm if her phone was in the purse or in the car somewhere, but the phone is obviously not with her. That is known, that the phone is not with her.
Okay, interesting.
Phone number.
You know, I always get so frustrated covering these stories, Kristen, because like the families will always say, we just know that she wouldn't disappear. Like we just know that our loved one wouldn't stop calling just one day. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, is that what you're relaying to the police?
You know, I am not in direct communication with the police. Other family members are, but other family members seem to be on the same page that, you know, something is not right. And, you know, I believe they've shared with you that it's been classified as a voluntary missing persons case. I didn't understand what a voluntary missing persons case is, or I should say, I didn't understand how they classify that. And basically, due to the fact that many missing persons cases are voluntary, I believe it's something like almost 75%. If there is no indication of foul play or anything else they can find, it has to be classified as that until they can find something.
When's the last time you were able to talk with her?
Now, I don't know if she's like dating anyone new or anything like that. You know, a lot of people, they keep their private lives just that private. So, you know, some people don't speak about, you know, dating. You know, they just see, you know, they just kind of date. So nothing on that. Justin, I was reading something about it saying that she would. Yeah, I don't think it's this. I'm pretty sure it's not. Let me check.
It's been a long time.
Okay, it's been a while. Okay.
Yes.
Police are no doubt closely looking at you know, what was going on in Tiffany's life. You mentioned there was a separation. I mean, is there anything more to that, do you think?
Guys,
I really honestly don't.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold. Oh my God. Guys, really bad. Miss Curvy, thank you. I was just researching this. Tiffany McClure has been found deceased. Oh my God. Missing Tiffany McClure's body has been found. A missing Tulare woman's body has been found. Tiffany McClure's body was recovered by the United States Coast Guard from the ocean of the coast, St. Louis. How do you pronounce this? San Luis Obispo County on Monday around 7:15 p.m. This just came out. Why did they not tell anybody? The Coast Guard was conducting a routine patrol when she was spotted. McClure went missing from the Tulare home on Monday, July 22nd, and her car was found in Morro Bay. The Morro Bay Police Department was contracted, and with the assistance of Morro Bay Harbor Police, the San Luis Sheriff's Office, and McClure's body was recovered. The police department was in direct contact with San Luis Sheriff's Office and the Morro Bay Police Department. The San Luis, was able to identify the body, that was the missing person. Tiffany McClure was from the place that I forgot how to pronounce. A thorough investigation has been conducted by both. Based on no evidence and statements obtained during the investigation, there is no indication of foul play at this time. They will be conducting an autopsy and determining the cause of death. That's bizarre. I mean, did she just drown? I mean, how do you just... I don't understand. I mean, unless maybe she was, and this is 1,000% speculation, but just maybe she was drinking it around, like... I'll keep you guys posted on this. Don't know at this time, Mohawk. Don't know. Something happened. Yeah. They just said her car was found in an area, is basically what they said, just in a parking lot area. So, what I don't understand, they found her remains Monday, but it just broke about an hour and a half ago. Her person or car was found by the intersection by the beach, Justin. Huh. Foul play this time. Why do they say that when they're not sure? Well, they said they identified her. She was identified. It is strange. Yeah, that could have been why it took to... I don't know. I mean, if you were going to unalive yourself, would you even take your purse with you to your car? I mean, she could have been severely depressed, but that's very, very strange. Okay. So, let's get started on the witness box, which we have a little bit more to go on the first one, that from the lab. And let me pull this up right here, and we're going to get started exactly where we left off. Now, okay, just trying to get a few things situated here. All right. Car was found by the beach. That still doesn't convince me. I mean, there's times where, it was I think she was last seen like at 8:30. Thank you, reality. And sometimes you go, walk along the beach if you're having trouble with your, again, it's speculation, with your partner and all of that. So we'll just kind of have to see. Guys, do me a favor, please hit that thumbs up button. Would greatly appreciate it. Consider becoming a pearl if you haven't became a world-renowned pearl yet. Okay, let's do this. All right, so credit goes to our friend, of course, Josh from the lab, and of course, Chris McDonough from the interview room. And of course, you can see Dr. Gary his book, which we've put in chat. I thought Seth interview on Court TV was very good. Yes, we're gonna cover some of that, Elisa, as well. Maybe later tonight. Depends on how long this one goes. But we do need some more thumbs up. Thank you, um, Dina Lynn, for that. Thank you, Justice Jane. Appreciate number 327. Thank you so much. All right. So we need to finish this one. I know there it just amazes me that people pull out so much stuff um about, like people are talking about Seth's ex girlfriend or something like that. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China right now? Like, what does that have to do with anything? If Seth, and we know that he was at work on the night of February 25th, going into the 26th, has absolutely nothing to do with anything. It is just a distraction. That's all it is. Is Seth in here? Hey, Seth, can you do me a favor and text me? I need to. Uh, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous that people are bringing out you're alive and not in jail. Well, I'm glad you're alive, and don't don't worry about it's I know it's easier said than done, but don't worry about the distraction, Seth. It's complete nonsense. Has Why has he not been cleared? I'll tell you why he's not been cleared. And I'll just tell you this. It's frustrating. Trust, it's frustrating. But TBI, one second. Okay. Sorry, someone thought I was taking calls. I apologize. I just needed Seth to text that number for me, if you didn't mind. Uh, the only thing that it does, is take everything about Sebastian and creates nothing even based in something factual. It does nothing. It does nothing. Sebastian was at his home with Katie. Allegedly, it was just Seth, or sorry, God, forgive me, Sebastian and Katie at the house, right? And the next thing we learn is that 3 a.m., there is human activity outside, coming from the area of Sebastian's house. Guys, please don't mention any creators in chat unless it is just because the only thing that I request is to not mention any creator in a negative way. Even if you know we're just not going, we're just different here. We're just different here. Um we keep on the narrow path of keeping it about Sebastian, keeping it about the victim. We're not here to these conspiracy theories. Um, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous for people. I mean, you're speaking about someone's ex that has nothing, nothing to do, nothing at all, nothing. But TBI, as frustrating as it is, I wish that they would go ahead and clear Seth. We know where he is. They know where he was. Um, but I will tell you, all of the time that I've been covering cases with the TBI, they have not cleared anyone that I have covered on these cases in Tennessee. They don't typically name suspects and they typically don't clear anybody. They just go in and arrest. Now, I think also um, they're not going to rock the boat. This is just my opinion. If, you know, if there are suspects, if there are suspects, um, that are, is a family member or, a step parent, then, there it's going to be, it's going to be, oh, well, we cleared Seth. Why aren't you clearing us? Right? Meaning Chris and Katie, right? So I don't think, I mean, I agree. I believe they absolutely should clear Seth and just, you know, if they have a suspect, name them. Uh but I believe there is one person in this case that is ultimately for the reason why we are here today. Um, and regardless whether, you know, um, there is foul play from that person or not, I believe he is ultimately the reason why we are here. He has had what, 5 wives. Relationships mean nothing to him. Nothing. Everything is temporary for him, and that's that. Right? Everything is temporary for him. Throwing wives out, um his ex Nina said He allegedly even threw a baby car seat. And that's that. People would stop bashing Seth. He is not perfect, but who is? I don't know. He loves his son. I do know he loves his son. And yes, and that's it. And that's it. Um, for me, it has uh nothing to do with anything else other than Seth is innocent. He was at work. That's all I care about. And when it comes to this, right? We know he was at work, and that's it. That's it. Um, I mean, CP and KP, from allegedly what we understand, is they didn't even they told CPS allegedly that Seth wasn't even in his life. Why are people saying this? Why would Chris and Katie allegedly say this stuff? It's because they didn't want Seth to know? That's crazy. Canadian Cookie, thank you so much for gifting 5 pearl necklaces, my dear. Really do appreciate you. Thank you, my love. Really do appreciate it. No cleared till arrest. Yeah, they're not going to. They're not going to clear anybody. They're just not until it's done. All right. Thank you so much, Canadian Cookie, for gifting 5 memberships, 5 pearl necklaces. Beep beep, mother chickens.
This is a Brooklyn-bound 2 express train. The next stop is Fulton Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
The lesser fight. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. Thank you so very much, my sweet dear, for gifting 5 pearl necklaces. If you received one of those pearl necklaces, please thank our sweet Canadian Cookie. A big, big thank you. And your applications have been approved. What is so imperfect about Seth exactly? That pisses me off when people say that. I guarantee you, if you were Seth's position, your emotion would be all over the place. Seth is a great dad too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? I mean, Seth knows that I have disagreed with him, particularly when it comes to Trevor. Trevor's my very good friend, and but I support Seth nonetheless because I know the man did nothing. Right? Literally, by the time Katie and Sebastian were out having dinner, Seth was at work. And the time that Katie was waking up Sebastian, right? Seth was at work. The 3 a.m. vehicle and the flashlights, Seth was at work. But you know who wasn't at work?
Katie, she wasn't at work. She was obviously in the house, right? You could not get a better alibi. Sadie's mom, why are you saying I'm muted? You could not get a better alibi than literally being in a jail, right? Couldn't, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Chris is not at work at 3 a.m. We know that because he doesn't work nights like that. So we know that. All right, let's get started with this.
And if so, what were those? Go back and interview anybody that's been in her life, ex-boyfriends. How is she around children? How is he around children? Have they ever been arrested? Have they ever been under suspicion by Department of, Social Services or child, protective agencies? Are there any court orders that ever existed? And if so, what were those? What were the orders of the court? Because that means they went through a whole process to.
You can't even get Katie to do anything right now. What is she doing? Guys, please do not name any names in this chat. If it is negative in any way, the mods will delete it. Any creator, anything like that. It's nothing personal. It's just that we are different here. People can talk whatever they want to talk about. Other creators in it, but we are just different here. We're just different here. That is exactly right. 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday per their policy.
Get to the court. How often was the court involved? So I hope the investigators, which I will put money on it, they're pulling all those reports and interviewing all those women.
And Chris,
well, it's about stating, for me, it is about, reasoning. Sebastian was seen in the parking lot getting ready to leave with Katie. A few minutes later, they make it home. You can see them. Well, you can't see you can't see Katie rather, or Sebastian in that, when they're pulling in the garage or anything. But I do believe Sebastian absolutely made it home. And then you have this mother who is so detailed about the entire day. Detailed, right? We woke up, fun fact, made breakfast, did this. We talked to the family, sat down at the dinner table, all of this. And then up until they get home. Got home, he took out the trash, went to his room, laid on the couch. Gone. So many details until they get home that day. Right? No scent. You can't not, you're not going to hide your scent. A 15-year-old barefooted with socks on, even with shoes on, you're not going to hide your scent. He's not going to get that far. He doesn't like the outdoors at all, doesn't like to be dirty, doesn't like any of it. Did the live stop for anyone else? What do you mean? All three guys are. So, yeah. I love what you shared yesterday in the community. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate that.
Proudfoot has said publicly and admitted that he at least one time had spanked Sebastian with a belt.
Yeah. And the one time that he alleges that he smacked Sebastian with the belt, he goes to Nancy Grace and he says he doesn't remember what he smacked, he whooped him for. You done it one time and you can't remember. What? That doesn't even make sense because you clearly remembered on other shows. Clearly remembered other shows. So there's that. Why are the stories changing? Why are the stories changing? Promise Roads, my dear, thank you so much. Love you to pieces, my love. Thank you for upping your it froze for me too. I exited and came back. YouTube's crazy. Thank you, my love. Appreciate you.
And
Pearls
that
look
Sebastian
amazing
went
on
to
you.
school, told his teacher, and a CPS report was generated from that. Now he says that they came out.
Yeah. Forgot because he forgot a belt, but you're going to just makes no sense. Makes no sense. Kelly K, thank you so much for 5 continuous months, my dear. Love you to pieces. Hashtag team Sebastian. Pearls look amazing on you, my love. Thank you so much.
And it was a big, nothing burger in his, to paraphrase or whatever he was doing. But so we know of at least one incident that he has admitted to.
Well, then you look.
That's a great comment, DD Sue. If Sebastian would have been missing from Seth's home, boy, what would KP and CP think? Would have reaction have been? I would bet way more out of control. I stand by Sebastian instead. Can you imagine just if that happening? That would have been bad. And I guarantee you, in my opinion, that Katie would be out there like Seth is now.
Look at his military record. Has he ever been court-martialed? If so, for what? And where? I think he was at 32nd Street because I was in San Diego recently poking around. I know he was in Mississippi, and I know that he was involved in recruiting with the Navy. Okay. And so, I've heard some things, but, we'll let him tell the world about it. Have there been court martials? I don't know. I've heard there could be, but we'll let him tell the world about it. And so then you've got to think through this and go, okay, what's his volatility here? And does mom come running every time he gets volatile? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
What was their relationship like before Sebastian went missing? Were they living together? And if so, what was that like? Were there any domestic calls, from the police, from the sheriff's department? Did the cops ever come to their houses?
I agree, Lil
and
Red.
say, hey, because remember, the police don't get involved if, they're not delivering cookies.
So, Chris, as an investigator, as an
I mean, for God's sakes, Chris and Katie even says Seth is not, could not be involved. Even Katie said, the events in school, that Seth was the one there. Thank you so much, Marie. Good to see you, my dear. Ask Seth if there is a dumpster company with the letters PA, either a dump truck or a dumpster with rusted and greenish with red by subject number 1, flashlight hiding. With rusted and greenish with red. Oh, by subject number 1, flashlight hiding. We'll send to later. You mean in the flashlight video? Is there a dumpster in the flash? Would there be a dumpster in the flashlight video? I wouldn't think so. Because if that's what you mean, I don't want to, but if that's what you mean, that's in the common area. So I don't think there's any dumpsters like in the back yards, if that's what you mean.
investigator. Say the father, biological father, Seth Rogers, who
Thank you,
was at
proud
work
Mimi.
for a 12-hour shift.
Thank you, my
If
love.
you were leading this investigation,
Let's listen to that again.
Say the father, biological father, Seth Rogers, who was at work for a 12-hour shift.
Was at work for a 12-hour shift. 12 hours. 12 hours. 12 hours shift. Thank you, Just Breathe Joyce, my love. Good to see you. Thank you, my love. Thank you, sweetheart. Chris M makes it very obvious that the more to CP than we really. Oh, love that him and his connects here in San Diego are poking around. Ooh, Marlena. Hey, Muscles.
If you were leading this investigation, would you clarify that alibi? Because Chris claims he has an alibi being in Memphis at work, that he wasn't there, that he received a phone call, but you would think that would probably be verifiable, right? I know that Seth Rogers was at work because Chris himself said that he couldn't get a hold of him because he didn't have his cell phone on him because he was at work. So he left, he texted him for when he was done with work, which was around 7. And I think they called the police just a little, like it was a little after 6. And it sounds like I just double checked. Sounds like the cops got there around 6:30 ish. And the call was to the non-emergency line just a little bit after 6, but between 6,
thank you,
about 6:10 or so, somewhere around.
Yeah.
Yes,
it would take about 15.
Yes. Why couldn't you just call Seth's workplace? That would have been great. That would have been great if they would have done that. That would have been great. In fact, I wish they would have for a few reasons. But they should have. No, yeah, Seth, yeah, he cannot keep his personal phone on him while you can't do that in the jail. You have to keep it in your vehicle or in your
minutes
locker.
to verify. You send somebody over to the jail where the biological father was, because my understanding he's a jailer. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so he worked for the sheriff's department.
Mhm.
If he's in the jail and they have video of him in the jail, it's a no-brainer. You know,
Chris, I absolutely agree. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But people get so bent out of shape because for the simple fact that they don't like Seth for whatever reason. See, that's the thing. You don't have to like him, right? You don't have to like him. But you also, I mean, people are like fabricating stuff and it's just insanity. That's it. You know, if you really want to find out the truth, then you have to go where things take you rather than making up
because
or
now then the second
or just looking at things that there's not even a even remotely a pathway to, for instance, Seth's ex. There's 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 no there's nothing to any reasoning um to take you there. It's bizarre.
second piece of this is, okay, then did he hire somebody to kidnap, Sebastian? All right, fine. Let's run that lane.
Yeah.
Let's run that lane. So that's when you start
Usually it's
looking
really
for, okay,
expensive.
if the father wants the child, the biological father wants the child,
Usually.
okay, that means he has to also keep the medicine going in this child. He has to feed this child. He has to hide this child. Okay. If in 24 hours, okay, you could put a tap on that dad's phone, okay, it's called a pen link, okay, and you could get a search warrant to say, look, Your Honor, this is a at-risk child. We want to listen to this guy's phone service, i.e., we want to hear what's going on here because there could be, something that would lead us to the discovery of this child. Okay. Now that's one option. The other option is just follow him, put him under surveillance, okay, and follow him wherever he goes. If the father in 5 months, which I think that's where we're at, even within 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, if that father never, ever shows any indication of being around his son, but every indication of looking for his son, I don't know about you. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but that is not rocket science. And you need to say, okay, guess what? The biological dad's not involved. Let's take him off the list because we're wasting time, and go back and look at the house. It's kind of like, the other situation. We've talked about this a million times, okay, with Summer. It just seems to be this, repeat of the Summer Wells case. And guess what? We're 3 years into the Summers Wells case. When that thing is, in my opinion, that case is solvable. It's very solvable. It really is. I mean, you got Don right now in Utah committing crimes. Am I right, Josh?
Yeah, you're
Right.
100% right.
Exactly.
And I said he was committing crimes a long time ago, and everybody said, no, that's impossible. And next thing you know it, Utah authorities are interviewing him for, the crimes he committed against his step.
Seth had, by the way, he had given them all direct numbers to the jail and extensions in case of an emergency. He had given them all of the information. Plus, you can just obviously Google it where he works, and they will, get
Sisters.
Seth.
Correct.
The only problem there is the statute of limitations ran out.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, he was dead to rights. He admitted it.
Well, and there's more coming.
There is.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is God's giving us another opportunity to.
Well, why isn't he cleared then? It can be for a number of reasons. In my opinion, I believe they haven't cleared officially. I mean, they're not looking at him anymore, I don't think. I mean, the reason is because, in my opinion, they don't want to, maybe my opinion is they may not want to tip off anyone else. Well, why are you clearing him when you're not clearing us? That's my opinion on it. But I haven't seen TBI. They just don't tend to, while they're investigating, they don't tend to clear people, and they don't. It's weird. That I agree, but that's just TBI.
Utilize that. Now think about that. Hopefully they're listening, and this time they'll utilize it correctly. It's the same thing here. You're spinning your wheels if you've already eliminated by looking at the video of the dad walking through the hallways of the jail. Great. You see it, take a copy, put it into evidence. Guess what? He has an alibi. Time to move on, sports fans.
Yeah. And the thing also, Chris, when you say, well, did he have somebody else? Okay, first of all, you'd have to trust somebody enough to be able to pull that off. Neither way, he's got to get inside. Whoever it is has to get inside that house, break into the house in the middle of the night, undetected,
which is a felony,
kidnap a child, which is another felony, a 15-year-old child who, by the way, if a straight, and Dr. Gary, you'll know this better than anybody. I mean,
does anyone in this chat feel like someone broke in that home? I don't, but if you do, put a 1 in the chat. If you think someone broke in that home, put a 1 in the chat. Right? So, I mean, you're absolutely to believe, what you want. But what we have. Yeah, and Chris doesn't think that either. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Right? So we've got to figure out how Sebastian got out of there. Right? We have to figure out how Sebastian got out of there. Because there's no evidence other than a disappearance. That's the only evidence that we have, that there's a disappearance. How that disappearance happened, well, that's what we're trying to figure out. Walked out on his own to meet someone? Yes. Okay. And What evidence do you have of that? The only evidence that could potentially, or really that we know of at all, that Sebastian could be taken, removed from that house is at 6 a.m. when Katie leaves the house, or at 3 a.m. whenever there is a flashlight coming from the common area. A car pulls up, right? They do something around the car for a few minutes rather. And then one person is seen running back, right? Now people's like, the time is off, all of that. Okay, the time is off. But authorities know exactly what time that was. You know why? For a number of reasons. Because they can align it with the houses across from them and beside of that video. They can align it with their cameras and get the exact time that was. It will specifically line up. Um, so there's that. Spirit Seeker was speaking. Who was it the other night? She was speaking about a case. Dylan, I think it was Dylan. No, it wasn't Dylan. Anyway, it took 9. I'm trying to remember 9 years to make an arrest in that case. Police said they had nothing. They had evidence the entire. Yeah, Dylan Redwine. There we go. Dylan Redwine. Yes. They, even though everyone was like, the stepdad is, or not the stepdad, the bio dad is loco, reminds you very much, in my opinion, of CP. Very, very similar. They eventually.
If a child like Sebastian, who by his father's accounts is anxious and can be startled easily. A stranger shows up, takes him out of the house undetected. Again, no noise, no nothing. How do you explain that one? How could you possibly explain them getting in and out of the house? So, like you said, is it possible? I don't think so. I don't think it's possible or probable for that scenario to happen. So you take him off the table, but you know what's
but you could also have an inappropriate, over trusting quality in people on the spectrum. For example, if you were to recognize the person that was coming in to take you, you might go with them because you're lacking the social judgment to find it odd that this person is asking you to go down a ladder in the middle of the night or whatever. But I would agree with you that all these suppositions are very improbable. I
Yeah.
mean, from an Occam's razor point of view, right? All things being equal, I mean, the simplest explanation is usually the correct one. And I mean, don't we all sort of feel that everything just herds you toward the most likely and the most common supposition being that this was an internal dynamic and that there's an attempt, an unsophisticated attempt, potentially just a hypothesis, an unsophisticated attempt to come up with a cover story that, from lack of experience and lack of research, just kind of doesn't work. I mean, what do you think, Chris?
I just think it's common sense.
Exactly.
Investigative work is common sense.
Exactly.
And when you have,
It's common sense. If someone walks out, right? First of all, it's common sense that they normally take their shoes, right? They normally take something with them. People with autism generally, what do? They're very attached to certain items, right? Very attached to certain items. Do you think Sebastian would walk out without his shoes, without the certain items that he, you know, was attached to? No. Common sense tells you that if you walk out, a dog will be able to pick up your scent. Common sense will tell you that you should have at least been seen on something, one of the cameras. It's common sense. Common sense would tell you that a mother should be not be giving up on her child. Ever. Common sense would tell you that the stories shouldn't change. And that's exactly right, show poodles. Generally, listen, if someone can think of a crime and commit it, right? How to hide, a plan to, you know, do, then you and I can think of the same thing that, or someone can think of the same thing that they thought of, right? Nothing is out of bounds, right? If someone can do it, they've thought about how to do it, how to hide it. If he would have walked out, I fully believe, in my humble opinion, he would have grabbed shoes. Of course. I mean, why walk? What's the point in walking out and walking literally past the shoes because they were right beside the door? What's the point? There's no point. What, you want to be more uncomfortable while you're walking out in the cold? Now think about that. Think about that. As soon, whether it was 30 degrees or it was 55 degrees, that's going to be cold on your feet. Either way, that's going to be cold on your feet. Right? Oh, let me just walk past my shoes here and be very uncomfortable even more so because I'm going to be freezing. Let me just walk past my shoes, but I'm going to make sure I'm going to lock this door behind me. I mean, let's get real, people. Let's get real.
Again, 15-year-old boys just don't vanish, especially autistic boys. 5-year-old girls don't vanish from basements. Okay. And everybody knows, common sense would tell you, okay, then how did this what happened then? Is common sense say that, yeah, this stranger comes into the house and somehow, again, masterfully, maybe it's the same guy that took Summer,
Yeah, maybe.
because this guy's a master at taking kids out of houses and leaving absolutely
sure.
nothing behind. Zero, zilch, nada. Okay. But what he
People who just want to like talk about just just the stuff that does not find Sebastian, right? Doesn't get any sort of closer to finding Sebastian, is honestly doing it just for views. That is it. That's it. They're just doing it for views. That's it. Nothing to find a child. It is purely for views.
has left behind is 4 parents that don't know what happened to their child because, the last time they saw them, in Summer's case, she was in the basement or headed that way, but I saw her go to the house. Okay. And in this case, I heard a thump. Yeah, things were, normal. I heard a thump. Yeah, he was in bed. I woke up at 6, but somehow the suspect was able to walk around the house here and get in. Okay. And man, I don't know how he why he walked out that door. Well,
No, actually, F with unicorns. That is not the case. That is not the case. There is no evidence of this child leaving on his own. Who was the last individual with Sebastian? Give me a box. Give me a box to think outside of, because I've thought out of every single one of them. Nobody, I mean, I certainly don't like to uh, think that a parent could do something like this. But remember the records here. Remember the records here. So give me a box. Now, if the parents said, or not the parents, Katie said he might have walked out without a flashlight. He might have walked out without a flashlight. I can't find him. Right? But a few days later goes by and we see some lights coming from the area of their home. And then we see a car pull up. Right? And then they're around this car for a little bit. And then one goes running back. Hey, Chris, Katie, could that have been anything? No, 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 no. No, nothing. Nothing. It's nothing here. Nothing at all. Well, but there's, it's coming from, your home area. Well, it's still nothing. I can't tell you where the camera came from. Oh, if trust me, if this came from a Nintendo or anything like that, they would have found this person in 3.2 seconds, in my opinion. There's that. And guess what? There is no scent of Sebastian at all. There's no scent of Sebastian at all. None. The only people that was in that home allegedly was Katie and Sebastian. Hear a thud, you're not going to go check on it. And you're going to tell us 3 different stories. Laying on the couch, you were sleeping, but you were doing, reading a chapter, and you say you take a lie detector test, you say you pass, but you won't take one for Nancy Grace. Right? There's that. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
If she thinks it's a stranger abduction, why is she putting it on Sebastian that he walked out the door, on his own accord?
Okay, so the person that would be alerted in the house would be the mother because she admits to being at home. So if somebody came into the house and if the dogs started to bark, that would alert the mother. That would be the fear, is alerting the mother. But what if in the house you don't have to be worried about alerting anybody because the person that is responsible for this is already in the house, that may live in the house. And that,
They have a dog. They have a dog.
Yeah, they have 2 little yapping dogs. Yeah.
What kind of dogs are they?
I think they're like kind
Just
of like
another
wiener dogs.
So they have 2 dogs.
Lie.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
They're the best witnesses in the world.
I know. Aren't they?
So do we know where the dogs were?
That's troubling, Chris.
Do we know where these dogs were that night?
They were in the home. That is very troubling. It reminds me of the dog that didn't bark in the night, that kind of thing. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Right.
When Paul Finks asked me in the Stephanie Crow murder, what's your feeling? I said the biggest witness in this whole thing's never been interviewed, and that was the dog. Because I told him,
Yes,
if this
please,
guy's
in my
wearing a wool
opinion,
sweater, there's
or
dog hair all
allegedly.
over that. And guess what? There was nothing there. And he was found not guilty because that was the truth. And in this situation, if there are 2 dogs in the house and a stranger comes in and arbitrarily, decides, well, I know these dogs, or they're going to know me here in a minute, and mom is in the house. Or if Sebastian's walking out of the house, those dogs are awake, going, where are you going, dude? Yappa, yappa, yappa.
Katie said, oh, the dogs wouldn't bark if Sebastian was getting up. He would just shush them. Well, you're not going to shush them unless they're barking. So there's that as well. Plus, she said, Katie and Chris stated that if Chris was at home, if Chris was in his home, rather, she would sleep with, the dogs would sleep with her.
Or, if they're not contained, but let me guess, they're in crates at night.
Yeah, they're in crates. Yeah.
Again, it's Occam's razor, right? What is the most likely thing to have happened with Sebastian based upon the things that we know, right? We know that there's not a scent of him, right? So if there's not a scent, you didn't go anywhere, right? You didn't drop anything. You didn't have a footprint of anything, nothing. You're not on camera. If you don't like the outdoors, you're not going to be hiking across God's country, right? And you're certainly not going to be running in the briars and the woods and stuff. Even EquiSearch said they had a hard time getting their dogs through some of those places. So, in my opinion, him leaving by himself is not even possible. In my opinion, it's just not possible. Because there's nothing to suggest that he did. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, how improbable, must be the truth. Amen. Amen.
Of course they are.
And they're Morkies.
Yorkies?
I would
Morkies.
think. I don't know. I would think
But
that
a Morkie is a mixture of a Maltese and a Yorkie, right?
I believe
So
so.
they're yappers.
They're the biggest yappers.
Man. Well, even in their crate, they're going to be yapping.
No question. If there's somebody coming in the middle of the night, the dogs are going to bark. I mean, it's just I have a dog that I have to crate sometimes, and he barks when you put him in the crate. It doesn't matter if you put a blanket over him or not. It's their nature. So yes, they were kenneled up. They're Morkies. They bark. But what I'm saying, and once again, a stranger or somebody coming into the house in the middle of the night would disturb them. But if somebody was that lived inside of the house, would not disturb them. And even if it did disturb them, it wouldn't matter because you're the only one in the house that has to be alerted. If the dogs alert the mother, the only person that's in the house, then that's not a big deal for her. But if
I have a question that Seth would have to answer to with the report he has. Was there an open and active CPS investigation that would have kept Chris out of the house and away from Sebastian? I don't think he can answer that. He can't talk about the reports because his attorney did get those, and he can really not say anything. All he can say is pretty much that he was shocked, and had he would have known, things would have
an
been a little bit
outsider
different.
comes in,
maybe,
and the dogs alert the mother, then you have yourself a big deal. And that's why when you say things like, I haven't left the house, well, I don't think he did either. He's either ran off, somehow managed to elude the FBI, the military, the National Guard was out there looking for him.
They were barking
local law
during the
enforcement,
interview.
volunteers, helicopters, drones. So he was able to elude all of that. Okay. Or somebody has successfully taken him out of the house and is successfully hiding his location, whether he be dead or alive.
Exactly.
Those are the two scenarios that I come back to. I just can't understand that there's almost no chance that he would be able to avoid being seen or detected or some sort of. The cops said they don't know how he got out of the house. They have no, they just don't know.
Well,
Well,
it's
look,
not,
I
they
mean,
know, they're
okay,
not saying.
They might, they might know. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, anybody with common sense would, I mean, how could you not, being an investigator, how could you not be suspicious of that story?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, how could, great point, right? A mother comes to you and says, I woke up, my son wasn't here. Okay, let's search for him. Let's get the dogs out. And there's nothing. Nothing. Not a scent, no camera, nothing. Oh, well, why is all of his shoes by the door? Oh, he must have walked without him, right? Oh, well, why is there people coming from the back area from the direction of your home? I don't know. Oh, what were y'all doing around the car? Uh, why did one person go running back and the car backs out of the neighborhood, doesn't go down to the, you know, next street or the cul-de-sac? I don't know, but there's that. I mean, people. That's bizarre. That's exactly right. I see you. We have the text for that, don't we? Chris even said that in a text message, that Sebastian didn't just walk away.
And I'm not saying that they're 100% guilty. Look, there are scenarios that I've never not thought of. I'm not a investigator by any stretch of the imagination, but you don't need to be a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. Thank you for listening to the Witness Box. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz, alongside my co-host Chris McDonough of the Interview Room on YouTube, Dr. Gary Picotto, author of The New Evil. You can pick it up on Amazon or.
Well, Sebastian never was seen outside of the house, unless there was an adult out there, right? Like, he didn't go outside. Chris and Katie said he didn't go outside. Didn't like to go outside at all. So there's that as well. Chris said, "Oh, somebody walked up to the front door. Well, we would have seen it. We would have seen it." All right, part 2.
The porta potty today.
Yeah.
Come on,
Well,
Dr. Bricado.
what do you think something
You
like
know?
that pays? Welcome to the Witness Rogers case. We also dive in to the Koberger case, Summer Wells, Audrey Cunningham, and a few others. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the show.
Nobody has been cleared. Everyone is a suspect. Danielle, Chris said that all the neighbors knew Sebastian. Now, some people didn't even know a kid lived there. Yes. There was nothing to suggest that a child lived there from the outside, right? You didn't see a bike, you didn't see swing set or, anything like that there. There was nothing to suggest, which kind of goes on further to say this wasn't just anybody, right? This wasn't just anybody. If they didn't, you'd have to know he lived there. So there's that.
Whenever you hear a law enforcement agency or a PIO stand at the podium and say, everybody's cooperating, right?
Listen to this.
And then they use, but that word.
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
That means behind the scenes, okay, the pile is getting pretty higher, PhD piled higher and deeper. Okay. And this is where they need to make a decision to move this investigation forward. And that decision should be, look, the parents have been cooperative. And if they think in any way, shape, or form that the parents may be holding back, then they need to say, however, and then fill in that blank. Okay. The parents are either A, persons of interest, or B, we've taken them out of the circle. Okay. Remember how long it took Ronnie Lawson to say, well, they're not off the table and they're not cooperating. How long did that take?
Everyone.
That took a long ass time before Ronnie Lawson said they were not cooperating in the Summer Wells case, right? That took, God, a long, long time. That was funny, Chris saying it like that, though.
In Summers' case, is still a suspect. No, they're not cooperating right now.
He should have done it in like 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, he could have done it sooner.
And just,
yeah,
right? Because then he follow up and said, well, everybody's a suspect.
Yes.
Okay. Well, okay. Why didn't you tell the public that from the get-go?
But the thing was that the public, when I say a lot of the public or the defenders, kind of use that they don't quite understand what everybody's a suspect means. And
what did you just read the last motion in the Koberger case?
I have not.
Okay. Well, she gives like 4 pages. It's like 100 and some odd pages of motion about the public perception that was projected by the agency.
And
okay. And
after they say Sebastian may have taken a flashlight, and they say, no, that's nothing. That's nothing. And I can't tell you where that came from. Well, if it's nothing, why can't you tell us? Makes no sense.
Even to the point where she goes, there's a lot of examples out here. Scott Green wrote a book, i.e. the president of the university. She uses that in the motion for Koberger. Okay. Do you know why?
You see Katie go, she's there doing her, messing around. They asked that question. She's like, Completely changes.
Because the university was so worried about, the community and the feelings, and they're worried about offending, anything or anybody. And you heard it in that press conference you just played with that PIO. We know the community. Okay. Well, guess what? It's not about the community. Here's a call coming in. Okay. We appreciate your assistance. We appreciate your help. Okay. We're looking for Sebastian Rogers. If you have information, please reach out and contact the police department. We would appreciate that. It's not about, and by the way, we're worried about how you.
Well, Chris says, TBI said they know where I was and that I didn't need a lie detector test. Goes on to Nancy Grace. Will you take a polygraph? Name the time and place. Then he comes back with Nancy and he says, TBI said they're going to give me a polygraph. Well, they're not going to give you a polygraph if they said they didn't need it from you, just to appease you. And if you need to be appeased, you could have definitely have taken it from who? Nancy Grace on national television. Nina really showed a lot. Law enforcement is never going to tell anyone that they don't need a polygraph.
You feel, okay? But instead you hear, at this point we don't know, and we understand though that you as the community are worried and yada, 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 yada. Okay.
They never said, right? If you see this, right, they never said, hold on, watch out. The neighbors were very concerned naturally because there's a lot of kids in that neighborhood. They wanted to know why, should they watch out for anyone, that could have abducted a child. Police never said,
Whatever happened to reality in communities with police work? Okay. When I've stood in front of the microphone, which has been many times, by the way, in high profile murders, many of them, I've told the community, we are looking for A, B, C, or D. This is what we have, E, F, and G. Here is the number. Call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know where you saw that work very successfully? You saw it work in Houston.
Audrey Cunningham.
Yes. In Houston, they did a great job with Audrey Cunningham. They asked and told the public for help, and what happened? Everyone came out for help. Christopher! Christopher! Oh, Grace! Oh, Grace! Christopher! Christopher! Oh, Grace! Christopher! Christopher! Oh, Grace!
Give me sugar, water. More.
Sugar.
Hey, your skin is hanging off your bones.
Edgar.
Oh, yeah.
Sugar water. We all need some sugar water.
Correct.
Yes, they did a fantastic job
They did a fantastic
of
job.
keeping the public
Oh, I need to look for that.
informed of
Thank
what they
you.
could. And even that sheriff, by the way, he was awesome during that whole thing. When he would hold these press conferences, he would say, when they would be asked questions, he would say, look, I'm not going to compromise the investigation by that, because we feel like, there is some information that we're not going to give out.
Really?
But this is what I can tell you. And it seemed to make a whole big difference. Right away, they had a person of interest.
Nicole, I would say it's near next to zero that, in my opinion, he is at any sort of business owned like like you said, like camp or anything like that. I would say it's pretty negligent, in my opinion. There's just nothing to suggest that he walked out on his own or anything else. Toby, thank you so very much, my dear. Toby's opinion says CP won't take a polygraph for one of two reasons. One, he did something, or two, he knows something, in my opinion. He knows, and he is now in control of KP 1,000%, in my opinion. He wouldn't even let Seth speak to Katie one-on-one. For God's sakes, they are made a human being together. He had to be there because I think, there's nobody that can read your BS like someone you've been with, right? Lived with, made a child with, body of 5-year-old. Oh, found a canal. Can't text her either unless Chris is included. What's the common denominator? And that is Chris. That's the common denominator, right? And I don't think he would be missing otherwise if it wasn't for that common denominator, in my opinion.
Right away.
Well, he told them this was the last guy that was with him.
Yes.
Okay. He's a person of interest. If you have any information, please call us. And guess what? The store clerk that saw them across the street at the donut shop, the suspect out front at the donut shop, called the cops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They pulled that video.
Right.
This was just after
Sure did.
he had thrown a brick or a cinder block around the child and threw her into the river.
Terrible.
He came for donuts.
Yeah.
Now think about the power of that in front of a jury. And now think about, well, we don't really want to tell the public that we're looking for this guy or that he's a person of interest. Do you see how that can play pretty quickly? Can you
Right,
see
Erica?
in the LA case and the Rachel Marin case where, you have this
Control.
Nike hat.
Control.
Okay, why not tell the public? They're going to solve the crime. Let's tell the public. What if they know something about this situation that if they told the public would absolutely change the dynamics in a split second about Summer and about Sebastian?
Persons of interest and who you can take off the table.
Right. Gary and I are both members of the Cold Case Foundation. Gary knows how I operate. I am the director of criminal investigations at the
TBI. They don't tell the public nothing. Nothing. And I think that can be, a detriment to help solving these cases. I really do.
Cold Case Foundation. I can't tell you how many agencies we've met with, and we've gone through all the evidence, we've gone through all the stuff, and we've looked at them and said, why didn't you tell the public? Well, we don't want to compromise the investigation. Let's see, let's get this right. You're contacting us because we're 25 years later and you don't want to compromise the investigation?
Yeah, it's compromised.
Well, what have they got? Where have they been? Where are they
like a person that says, I don't want to wear this pair of shoes because I don't want to scuff them up.
It's not working.
Closet until they outgrow them, and they got to throw the shoes out. They have no use.
Yeah,
right. So it's like in an effort to keep it pristine, you squander.
You analyze, you paralyze, and
you guys see that a lot. You do see that a lot.
Well, that's why the Cold Case Foundation exists,
right?
Right. That's why there's job security there. That's for sure. Okay, because you have agencies, and it's not any fault of their own, i.e., the people we work with, because they're picking up somebody else's, cold case, somebody else that didn't do what should have been done, and they bounce it off of us, and depends on the nature of the situation. We have 130,
Yeah, you would think that he would, Thomas, right? You would think that Chris would be like, hell yeah. He says he's innocent, right? You would think he would be like, hell yeah, let me do a polygraph, name the time and place. But he has mentioned that before. The problem is Nancy named the time and place, and he didn't show. I don't think, to this very day, my opinion, that Chris has done a polygraph. I don't think so. I do not think the man has done a polygraph. If you've done one, you passed, well, you'll do it again. He's not a man of his word. He is not a man of his word at all. I don't believe for a New York minute that this man has really done. I don't think either one of them have done much. I don't even know if Katie's done one. Chris was making it seem like from the get-go he passed. The results are passed. Why are you being deceptive about that? Why would you be deceptive? He is a control freak. She told Nancy Grace she did and passed. That's what she says. Yes. Yep. I don't believe it for a minute. We're going to take calls in just a minute. Someone wanted to call in. Let me just find this up here.
137 experts that look at this
We're also
and go, well, what about A, B, C, and D? Well, we thought about that. Well, then do it. If you thought about it, then execute. Don't tuck it away. And same in this situation, when you come to the podium and you say, what they said, well, then they need to have some chutzpah and say, you know what, this person could be a person of interest. You're not saying they did it. You're just saying, look, there's evidence that we're collecting. Remember, you don't investigate people, you investigate information. There's evidence here that we are following, and it involves A, B, C, and D.
God, I wish Chris was
If
on
anybody has information about that, that'll do one of two things. If the individual that you're putting that out in the public comes to you and says, hey, why are you doing that?
I agree, Miss Criminal. I agree with your statement. Chris would never allow Katie to do a poly. He hardly lets her speak. Hardly lets her speak. Won't let him speak to the father of her child. After she did the interview with Olivia, she about cracked under, about told on herself, in my opinion. And what happened? She hasn't done that since.
Say, well, because we have some problems in the investigation. Would you like to clarify? Yeah, with my lawyer, not a problem.
Something makes them uncomfortable, in my opinion, about Katie leaving at 6 o'clock that morning. Something's very
Bring your
uncomfortable.
lawyer. Right. Bring him into the interview room. We'd love to have him. Bring the whole family. We don't care. That's how you solve crimes. These types of crimes that are at a stalemate. There's not a person I don't think, in Tennessee that does not believe that Summer Wells's case is at a stalemate. They say, yeah, we're working it. Really? Okay, fine. What do you got?
But Chris, what I think has become sort of a bastardization of this process is where you get the other extreme, and the public wants very badly to be involved with a high-profile case, and they're not getting information, so they basically make it up, or
Correct.
they steal it, or they get it from inappropriate means because they want to be armchair kind of sleuths that are involved in the case. And I think that's why, especially in today's day and age, you're seeing a little bit more of this holding things close to the vest, because when things get out, they rip through the true crime community. There are even, instances in which there's speculation that offenders, people that are on trial, have used the true crime community as megaphones to put an idea out there, or to taint a storyline, or you know what I'm saying. I mean, these things happen. Wouldn't you agree? Both of you?
Yeah, I
Sure.
do. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Sure.
And I just think that's why I feel some law enforcement agencies are a little paralyzed in what they want to do, because it can go that way too, Chris.
But 90% of the time you can control the flow of holdback information.
That's the key.
Yeah. Where they get in trouble is they care about what people think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I understand.
Meaning, right? I mean, you get these crazy people that go out and say A, B, C, and D. I mean, just think about what even I got accused by walking up the street and looking in the Koberger case, and I see the glove. Okay. I think I had 10 or 15 YouTube channels do a whole thing about me finding the glove. Okay. And saying, all these other things about that glove, that guy planted that glove. Oh, really? Okay, fine. But you see, you expect that lunacy,
right,
as a professional homicide investigator.
That's insulting. I remember when Chris found that glove. I mean, some of these true crimers, they're blaming. They blamed Chris, who has dedicated his entire life to law enforcement, and has more integrity in his little pinky than some would ever have in their whole body, saying that he planted a glove. Just like they accused Olivia for planting a bottle or something in the Brian, not Brian, sorry, I can't even think right now. Brian Laundrie case. Olivia would never do something like that. I would stand in front of God and everyone and tell you that she would never do that. That she would never, ever, ever do something like that. And that's, I guess people are so twisted in their minds.
Was supposed to be inside his home sleeping. His mother, Katie Proudfoot, says he went to bed at 9, but was making some noise around.
Happy birthday, Soldier Girl. Is it Soldier Girl's birthday? Yeah, they manufacture drama is what they do. They literally manufacture drama. It's beyond. It's beyond. Stuff that has nothing to do. It's just for clicks. They said T.O. planted the pants. Yeah, I remember that. Not a chance. Not a chance.
10, including a thud sound.
Tomorrow's
Katie
your
told him to
birthday?
go to sleep. She went to bed at midnight. Then at 6 a.m., Katie woke up. She went to his room to get him ready for school, but Sebastian was gone. She searched the house, and he was nowhere to be found. Sebastian's stepdad, Chris Proudfoot, was not home, and Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, was at work about 45 minutes away. Police responded and began trying to figure out what happened. That was February 26, 2024. And as the days, weeks, and months have passed, still no sign of Sebastian, no sign of foul play, and no answers about what happened. Did someone harm Sebastian, or did he just walk away? We're searching for answers as we investigate the mysterious disappearance of Sebastian Rogers.
From the beginning, this case has not made a lot of sense because of the lack of evidence, the lack of leads. I want you to take a look, though, at the original Amber Alert in this case, because I think it's significant.
Send
The
me the
Amber
link
Alert
if you
went
got
out,
it.
issued on behalf of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian is a 15-year-old white male, 5'5" tall, 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Sebastian was last seen on February 26th, 2024, in the area of Stafford Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee. February 26th. That's the last time he has been seen. So what's going on right now? You know, we profile missing children all the time, every night. So my question right now is anyone still searching for Sebastian? Let me bring in my special guest, someone I know is still searching. Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, is with us, and also joining us, the Rogers family spokesperson, Tony Mathis. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and the opportunity to speak about Sebastian. Seth, let me begin with you. Is anyone still searching for your missing son?
I am. I have a private investigator that's still working on it. She conducts her searches in private. She has her own volunteer base. We're not going to stop until we find it.
Let me ask you this, Seth. Outside of what you are doing, Is this search still active? Let's talk about law enforcement.
From my understanding, law enforcement is still searching.
I think they're doing more investigating. Now, where's this at?
They're doing it privately as well. They're checking in on tips when they come in.
Yeah.
If we get tips, we pass them on to them. Same time we get them.
And how is that part going with
Never
tips?
once that I'm aware of either.
Are people still providing information when they come across things? And what are your thoughts about?
We still get information. I mean, we still get emails every day. We have a tip site that is up. I put that up. It's a valid tip site for anybody who wants to email or call, wants to be anonymous or whatnot.
Tony, I wanted to bring you in the conversation. This is a difficult situation. And I understand the onslaught of public attention that this has gotten. And sometimes that's a big positive in keeping Sebastian's face in the public and getting people to know who he is.
Sharon, we don't know that. We don't know that. So just put, in my opinion, or allegedly. Otherwise, mods will delete it because you're stating that as, kind of factual. I think you was. Or where actually didn't you put where did Chris go? So I apologize, but just please put in my opinion or allegedly on that if you don't mind.
And think about them, and if they see something, hopefully say something.
That's okay, my dear.
But obviously there can be downsides as well.
I have the same question.
How is all of this publicity, from your perspective, impacting the search for Sebastian?
Well, we don't really believe that any of the media attention, social media attention, any of that is really going to impact what law enforcement's doing one way or another. It does impact the father, that I represent, Seth. We think.
Why does Seth have his own top line? Top line? You mean like, tip line? Okay. Because I'll tell you this. I have spoke to neighbors, people in that neighborhood who said that they called TBI and they lived in, actually, I think even Bobby spoke about this. They wanted to give them something and they would say, okay, we'll get back in touch with you. They never got back in touch. One of them called and says, we aren't looking for that any longer, or something to that effect. Well, they're not telling us anything, right? TBI, they usually don't follow up. You're right. They don't ever follow up, but they wouldn't even calling. Them back about the tip. It wasn't really, they wanted to tell them and kind of like detail about the tip or something. Now, I don't know, but if you was a parent and you were frustrated this many months over, we'd probably have a tip line myself. Right? Law enforcement isn't able to check out every little nitty gritty thing. So they go look.
Thank all the
I don't find a
creators
problem
out
with
there
it.
that continue to keep Sebastian's name out and do it in a positive.
And it's not real. I mean, a tip. Okay, it's a tip line. It's like if you were a parent in his shoes and you heard it's basically just like, if you hear something, give me a call, leave a message. It's not that big of a deal like some people have made it out to be. If you hear something, call it, leave a message, and that's it. I would have tip lines, email lines. So all that. Here's my number. If you've heard something or you think something might be credible, and you're not getting through with, TBI or whatever,
Way.
I'll look at it.
Our message to most of the media attention, more social media than mainstream, is that, we ask that you cover the case in a positive way. If you choose not to do that and back away, that's okay too. But any positive support that we can get for Seth while he's looking for his son is a big deal for us.
And Seth, I know that during the course of all of this, there have been some potential leads that became very public, including a photograph of someone who seemed to resemble Sebastian at a rest stop in, I believe, North Carolina. How are you holding up through all of this? And where's your level of optimism right now?
I have faith. I have hope. Sebastian's alive. We just gotta find him.
I mean, if I forgot what I was going to say. Hold on. I'll think of it in a second.
There is nothing else.
Or
Just find Sebastian.
Tony, I wanted to get you in on this as well, in terms of as a family spokesperson.
I'm sorry, hey Jude.
Do you feel that there is still the same level of, I guess, commitment?
What someone said, what Silver on the Scene was doing is illegal. Is that true? What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he supposedly doing that's supposed to be illegal? Sebastian is Seth's whole life and only child, yes. No, I'm asking, like I'm really asking. So it's illegal to dig now? It's illegal to search now? Wow. Boy, that's new to me. That's new to me. It's not illegal to dig or search. What the hell's wrong with people? My God. I mean, do you know what the law enforcement would do if someone found Sebastian? They would be like, thank you. That's what they're going to be like. Thank you. That's all. That's all. I mean, come on. That's it. people want to make a big deal about someone doing something all the time. He's out there by the sweat of his brow, and he's doing whatever he does. He's an intelligent guy. You know, the digging was going place. The digging and going into place he shouldn't. I mean, where's he? He's in. The last thing I seen that he was digging was like by a road area or something. And that's exactly right, Spirit. No matter what people do, someone will always complain. Don't believe everything you hear. Yeah, I mean, thank you, Promise Shorts. I think he's just a good guy. And that's it. That's it. I don't know how anybody, whether I like the person or don't like the person, I appreciate anyone out there searching, putting flyers up. You know, I appreciate that. How can you not? How can you not appreciate that? Sometimes you have to separate your personal feelings about someone. That's it. I mean, can't we be more mature than, like a grade school or middle school?
From everyone, the community, law enforcement, media, to make sure that anything and everything is done to find this missing child.
Well, Vinny, I think that it's our job to keep his name out there in the community. All of our job on Seth's team, and of course I represent just Seth. It's all of our jobs on his team to keep the community engaged. We continue to have events, have vigils, have gatherings, keep his name out there. The media, mainstream media, such as yourself and many others, have been very good and very helpful. It's very easy to get in.
I mean, like, let's say someone found Sebastian. I mean, what is police going to say? Right? You shouldn't have done that. Come on. Common sense, people. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I understand, Cindy. You're fine, honey. I did my part when I was up through Tennessee. I was searching for him. I was asking questions. I was showing. I mean, I handed out flyers when I was in Pigeon Forge. During the spring, I was handing out flyers everywhere. I mean,
interviews if Seth feels up to doing an interview. I think the X factor for us is law enforcement. I think that the communication, it's been a bit lacking, at least as far as Seth and I are concerned. We don't really know what it is they're doing. We have faith. We heavily back the blue. Of course, Seth is in law enforcement. I live in Oklahoma. We strongly back the blue in my community. But, the question that I always ask that we still haven't got an answer to is, just simply tell Seth, are you any closer today to figuring out what happened to Sebastian than you were on February 26th? And quite frankly, we feel like that's a very fair and logical question.
I'm not a Tony fan. Y'all know that. But I agree with Tony on this. I don't think that's an unreasonable question. It's not giving any specific details. Are you any closer to finding out where or what has happened to Sebastian than you are the day that he went missing? And I agree with that. Police do not need to go through Tony to reach Seth. I don't think he needs to be there in any other capacity other than maybe some, if he wants to be, Seth's friend or anything. But I believe that's a fair question. Put yourself in another person's position for once. How would you feel if you were in that position? And I'll be honest with you, I would have probably made a total ass out of myself at, whatever police station, your child went missing at. Because it's frustration. You're pissed off. Yeah. So I want to give Nick Barris posted. We'll get back to this in just a second. Nick Barris posted this. And behind it is, he writes, could this be Sebastian Rogers? Several of you have shared this sonar image with me, apparently taken by someone on Old Hickory Lake. You can see it appears to resemble a human body. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his Hendersonville, Tennessee home nearly 6 months ago. Right? Now, one second. He says, I have checked with authorities and they say they checked out the area with both dogs and sonar and determined the image is a submerged tree, not a human being, but they appreciated the tip and continue to follow up on any potential new leads. Here is what it looked like right here. Now, personally, I understand how people think it might be, a human, more so this part rather than, I know a lot of people's like, well, that's an arm sticking up. I don't think an arm would be sticking up like exactly like that if you are a decedent. But most of the public doesn't really understand that. Yes. It is extremely hard to keep a decedent inside the water if they, are down there, unless they're like trapped in a car or something. it's otherwise it's pretty hard to keep him down. Sonor, it looks like a fire pit to me. Looks like a fire pit to you. Well, it's this right here. But I'm glad that, the police thanked him. And that's good. Police aren't going to get mad that you're just trying to help. Trust me, if you are overstepping it, police will let you know. If you are overstepping something in an investigation, they will tell you. You don't need a YouTuber, a TikToker, a Facebooker, or anything in between. Police will surely let you know if you are overstepping anything. So, there's that. Looks like someone's standing by a flagpole. Oh, it's kind of like the clouds thing, how with the clouds, what is it like? You can see whatever in clouds. So there is that. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for being here. I will be back in 1 hour to an hour and a half, probably about 9 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern, I will be back. We will be covering more on this. Get ready. Okay? I'll be back. 9 p.m. Eastern. It's 7:32 right now. An hour and a half. Okay, I'll be dancing here. Okay. Thank you, guys. Love you all. Appreciate you. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Love you guys. Bye-bye.